everyone. This is Sonam, and I am an actor in the Indian film industry. And I am here to speak about equal rights, specifically LGBTQI plus rights. I have been a supporter of the community and of my friends since a very, very young age. I didn't know that there was the sort of inequality that exists and the sort of, how do I explain it? The sort of inequality, actually, that's the best way to explain it, that exists in India was shocking to me when I grew up and I became aware of an adult world. I realized that it was very shocking to me, and I decided I had to be an outspoken advocate for the LGBTQI community. And it has been tough, and at the same time it's been rewarding, and I'm really, really excited to speak to Malkeet, who is a part of the community and is a very vocal part of the community as well. Hi, Malkeet.
Hi, Sonam. So I'm going to quickly introduce myself. My name is Malkeet Singh. I'm 24 years of age, and I work as a model and a stylist. And I'm so thankful for today's opportunity to have been able to talk to you guys openly about the coming out scenario and all about the LGBTQ rights that I believe that everyone should be aware and needs to be educated about. And thank you so much again for having me.
You look so cute. I love what you're wearing.
Thank you so much, and you're so beautiful. I'm just having a little psychedelic moment right here.
You look super cute. I was going to tell you, but I thought I was going to say it like now and tell you that you look so cute. It's how are you doing in quarantine?
I'm doing pretty much okay. Things are really tough right now because of the lockdown, but here we have each other. We got each other's back, and we're just trying to push through the time and come out of it beautifully. How about yours?
I'm in London right now, actually. I think okay. It's almost back to normal, but I'm quarantining because I came from India day before. I was in Mumbai, and I'm here, and I'm going to be here for the next 2 weeks, like in my house, quarantining, because you're not in the house. Yeah. But I'm okay. I had some stressful times in the last 3-4 months, just in terms of like mentally, there's a lot of stuff that happens in social media. There's a lot of hate, and there's a lot of talk of a lot of things. And, it kind of put me in a very, very low and negative space. But now I'm much better.
Also, I mean, in Bollywood also, we've had so many people that we have lost over these years. So it's been like really tragic to see these many deaths and people suffering with mental health. So, I mean, like, we really look up to Bollywood, and for losing our idols like that. I mean, we know how Bollywood is praised in our Indian household, and it's very religiously believed into. So, and yeah, I mean, I think people are really very feeling low about the whole situation which is happening, and people are getting affected throughout.
But I mean, everything. I mean, a lot of things that are happening in India are scary. But every cloud has a silver lining. Especially with what happened, I think 2 years ago with more than 2 years ago, I think, with the LGBTQI plus community, where Section 377 was kind of was changed, was gotten rid of, and I think that was a huge step forward for India. It was late, better late than never, right?
It took 40 years. It took damn 40 years to come to this far.
Yeah, I know, and the weird part is in India, it's actually not, especially in Indian culture. It isn't something that was ever frowned upon before. We were aided multiple times by different cultures. We speak about it in our Puranas. We speak about it. It is normal, and it was spoken of as normal. And the fact that it changed over so many years, and then it became this thing which wasn't considered normal in India was weird.
I mean,
So
that's exactly the point is. I mean, it's so sad for us to believe in something that, I mean, we don't really look up to our mythology and Upanishads and all. We've
yeah,
had such big depiction of LGBTQ history, and we've had so many, like examples, and still we
yeah,
believe in. I
yeah.
think after the British is coming to India and the whole colonization happening,
I think
it
it's
really
also
has affected.
yeah, I think it's also with the Mughals and the British. They came in, and it's you know that that rule was not an Indian rule. It was made by the British.
Divide and rule. We are talking here.
So
Yeah.
I think it's I think it was about time. And as a society, we've been conformed to think in a certain way, and hopefully things are changing slowly but steadily. And I know that it's a very long way off, especially in small towns, especially even in big cities. Actually, families are so conservative. You know,
Yeah.
um, so how have you dealt with? You've come out to your parents? I know that, and how have you dealt with?
Yes, it's. I mean, like I have come out to them, but still, it's more of like living in denial. And I mean, I continuously keep looking forward to have that kind of acceptance every day. It's just like waking up with this such wrong adjustment in our lives, and I'm just like I want to be like than any other child, like how they have. Like I don't want to be mistreated or like looked down upon just because I'm a queer person.
Yeah, and you think your family does that?
Majorly, yes. I mean, yeah. I come from a background where things are not, like accepting in terms of coming out as a queer individual, and you are definitely, I mean, mistreated and looked down upon because you are just like outcasting everybody, and it's like you are behaving in a very unnatural form, and that's now how they have seen the world and how they have lived their life because it's a very they have been following this patriarchy over the years, and that's
What
and misogyny, and
did you
it
make
just keeps
it
getting
like?
continuing.
Huh? Did you
Yeah,
make
I mean it is.
Did you make
Sorry.
that film that I did with my dad called "एक लड़की को देखा तो ऐसा लगा"?
Yes, and I really want to thank you for that because that is one role which I mean, like you sort of was an openly lesbian woman, and it has just encouraged so many individuals to feel okay about themselves, and it really comforts our heart, when we see that kind of depiction on such big cinema, and when we see okay we are like everybody else. I mean there's nothing deformed or
Different.
less different about us. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I was offered the film, first I was offered the film, and then my dad was offered the film, and I come from a very liberal and progressive family, and my father was like, he felt like he and I were talking about it, and even though we live in Bombay City, and I've got a very
Yep.
liberal family, he was like, my father didn't understand that why we had to make it so simple.
Yep.
Because I was like, Daddy, people still don't. They still need to know ABC of what LGBTQI plus means.
Exactly.
I was like, so the fact that it's spelled out and it's more simplistic while it's commercial, I was like,
Yep.
that matters now. He's like, are you serious? Is it that backward? I was like, yeah, it's that backward and that regressive where you have to sit and explain to people what it
Yep.
actually
About your
means.
gender roles. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think India is one country where these gender roles are very deep rooted amongst us, and like there's a big homophobia like that we have been dealing over the years, and it really does affect our mental health.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have been through it, and I'm like still figuring out my life because but I want to ask you, like, how do you feel about that? Because you must have had a lot of peers and a lot of LGBTQ friends, and how does it feel to be a part of,
Um,
and to be such a fabulous ally? I mean, yeah.
I mean, honestly, I've had friends since school. My
Yep.
my you know from like school, from high school, from my colleagues, and all very open with their families. Honestly, I've
Mhm.
had friends who, except for one of my friends who's a lesbian, it was a hard. She had a hard time coming out to her parents. But the families have largely been accepting of them, honestly. So, but I hear from their friends where
Yep.
they are in the closet, or they're out but their parents don't know, they're living another life,
Yep.
especially not my age or younger than me, but
Hmm.
like the older middle-aged community, where they haven't told their parents, or their parents don't want to know, and I think I don't know how that is, to keep a part of yourself away, a huge part, maybe a whole identity away from your family and friends. I'm sure that has a huge impact on your mental health.
Yep.
Um, but I don't see a difference, right? So for
I
me,
mean, yeah,
I
please.
I know I don't find I don't find a I don't see I see as a woman as well what I go through in India, and
Hmm.
I see the LGBTQI plus community is especially go through what they go through in India as well. Um,
Hmm.
there's similar struggles, and like I said, like I'm every privilege is relative, right? Like that's what we
Yes,
talk
yes,
about,
it
right?
is, it is.
As a privileged woman from affluent family, as opposed to a gay man who is slightly more privileged than a lesbian or a trans person.
Hmm.
There's so many. So I'm saying that we all have our struggles, especially in India, which is largely patriarchal, largely conservative, especially nowadays. And I think it kind of starts making you realize that you're not as valued, and you're not as
Yes.
needed or wanted, and
Yeah.
that people make you believe. And sometimes that can take a huge toll on your mental health, on your physical health, on your emotional health, on your self-respect, on your confidence. And you need to have the correct friends around you, the correct allies
Yes.
around you, to make you understand that that's not true. Just because the world is thinking of you, in a majority of the Indian world, I think, is
Yep.
in
Yes. Yes.
a certain way, that doesn't mean it's true. Becky, should I ask you some questions?
Yes. Yes. You can, and I'll
Yeah.
be like happy.
So, okay, so Maki, at what age did you know, at what point in your life did you know that you were gay, or you were queer? At what age, what point?
I mean, I think growing up, I always had realized that I have feelings towards boys, and I'm more attracted towards them, and it was more like. It was like you just following your peers, and I have dated girls, I've been with girls, and first it took me a lot of years to identify myself and my sexuality and be comfortable with. But and also I come from a background where being gay is not talked openly. It is also a kind of a sin. It is more considered like a disease, like a psychological
Are
disorder.
you, are you Sardar?
Yes, I'm Sadar.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
I mean, growing up in this kind of family, and you look like you are any lesser of like a man if you consider yourself gay.
Yeah,
If you're a gay person, then you're definitely 100% effeminate, and maybe you just like sex way too much. I mean, that's how microscopic view we have of a queer
yeah,
person in India,
yeah,
and that's what makes me feel really sad about because that this the lack of conversation between me and my parents, and the less of awareness, has made such a big wall among between both of us, and I still have been suffering. I mean, there was a time I was a very, very shy and introvert kid, and I was in my grade 11, where I was just like realizing stuff, and I was opening up to people, but like, which did not go very right. I think I was turning 16, and one day I was just coming back from tuitions, and I was kidnapped by my six classmates. So, which was not a nice thing, and I was molested, and things were really rough during that time. And um, those years were really difficult part, and it really affected my education. It really affected me. But going through that kind of situation, it just really broke me to a point where I could not even tell it to myself that you had that kind of bad experience, and we did not me and my parents, we did not have that kind of communication where I could just open up and tell them, okay, mom, dad, this happened to me, or like it was just really, really sensitive, and I had to just push it back in my head and tell that okay, you have to ignore just whatever happened, and keep living your life. And it just also brought a lot of discomfort in me living with my parents, and because I had this continuous pain that I was living with, and I really wanted to open up and tell that that I'm not doing okay. And because they started seeing it in my studies, they started seeing in my behavior, and they were like, you do look changed, there's something wrong about you, are you okay? But then I was deep down, I was so scared, because I knew if I shared this experience with them, like this whole incident, I mean, it will be like that, it's because of you, because you look like a certain way, because you behave, you walk like a certain way. That's why people have, allow themselves to come and touch you and lay their hands over. It's just very disgusting, because if I tell it to them, yeah, because like in Punjabi families, you're like, oh, you are the man of the house, so you have to, because it's a very pseudo masculinity, you have to keep, you yeah, engaging and indulging into, and it's a lot of pretentiousness, like you just don't feel comfortable because it's just too heavy on your head. And it took a lot of years. And I'm come from a very small city, Ghaziabad, which is a part of NCR, and I chose fashion because I wanted to study something in fashion. I decided that I really have to move out of the city because it's really affected my mental health. I had to completely cut myself up with my parents, and the relationship that me and my father used to hold did not look the same, and it was not sweet. For years and years, we did not talk to each other, but that was still like, a part where he felt that I'm not comfortable living with them and I want to live my own life, but they just never really try to even understand like what was getting wrong and what was, going through in my head. Because I think as Indian parents, that's where we lack, we see our kids as more of an investment rather than raising our kids. We need to be open enough. We need to educate themselves and make them aware of whole sexuality. And because if I would have known how the world is gonna be in front of me, I was never prepared. You're just never told. And when that kind of incident happens, it really shakes you up, because in your head you're so innocent, and when something that aggressive happens, it really takes a toll on your head. And I came out to my brother 2 years back, and last year, one night I had a really bad panic attack, and I could not sleep all night. Next day I woke up and I called my mom, like, I was waiting for them to, just like get up and I could just get on a call with them and just talk. And my mom was like, you really sound very disturbed. What's up? Like, what is happening to you? And I had to tell, like, mom, I have been holding up for so many years that there was this incident that took place when I was in grade 11th, and I've never spoken to this about you guys. And it is giving me a lot of PTSD, and I'm really, really disturbed. And there was a point where I thought that, I just don't have to deal with the whole thing. I just can ignore it and just tell myself I'm okay. But I kept, stacking it up in my head so much. Now it is affecting me as a person. It is affecting my health. It is affecting my career, and I'm not being able to do it properly. So, like, I need you guys to accept me and know like what. It's just really really tough. I think
What did
overall we like. She said she sounded. I mean, it was very awful for her also to hear that out. And but she was like, "Why didn't you just come and you know, why didn't you just like reach out to us during that moment?" And I told them because I was not comfortable. I knew for the fact if I'll come and tell you that mom I got molested, you might as well just slap me and tell me you are a man. Because as I mean, in India, we don't think like men get raped. I mean, they can get molested. It's just very stupid of them, like to believe that it is, yeah, that it is just happening to only one gender. I mean, I'm so sorry for that kind of disbelief that we think it's just really tough. It is.
No, of course it is. Because if somebody doesn't believe you, or you feel like someone's not going to believe you, that's the hardest place to be, and especially when something so unjust and so horrific is
Yeah.
happening. You need to, first of all, somebody needs to believe you. That's the first step to feeling. I don't know how you would feel better about it, but that's the first step to actually moving a little ahead from it. And the second step would be to kind of confront those people, or those people, kind of pay a price for doing something like that. And I don't know if that happens, or if, I mean, that's in a very utopian society. I don't know if that
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
ever happen, but I understand completely. I empathize completely with what you're saying. I know it's not something I know. As girls, we go through the same thing all the time, where we are heckled, where we're called lots of weird names.
Yeah.
I know that I know like some of my friends who get like trolled, or whatever we
Yeah.
call it, on social media or in the world. If you are feminine, if you're slightly feminine, and if you're a man, they will call you things like chaka, and they'll
Yeah.
use it in a derogatory way. Or if you're a woman, they'll call you randi, or they'll call you this, or they'll call you that, and they use such horrible
Yeah.
names, and they make you feel worthless and horrible. But you need to know that that's not your worth, and the fact that you're speaking out about it is something that is going to help other people speak up about it. I hope that your brother was accepting and happy when you spoke to him.
I mean, he's my rock. He definitely has helped me a lot because he's part of the same family, and for him to have different, like ideas of where I think obviously he's a millennial and is a part of, I mean, the same generation, and but he also at the same time brought me the same kind of comfort I was looking for from my family. So that really helped me. And I mean, till this date, I don't have that much courage of like even seeing those people. Like I can't even imagine having them in front of me because it really shakes me up. And I have taken years and years to find this kind of um, confidence and to feel, to be at least strong enough to talk it out in public. I've been through several therapies where I've been told the only way to proceed further in your life is to just forgive them, but then you don't have to stop there. Make sure that you are making rest of the people aware of what happened to you and you stand for the right. And
Yeah.
then because as like as for parents, I mean, parents are supposed to protect us, and I feel like you know it's just like they need to teach us, and they need to basically mark a way for us to follow. And I'm not gonna say that my parents failed or anything. They love me so much. They're like special to me. But the fact that they didn't have that kind of awareness about the community, and because the mentality is still so backward, um, because they're very also comforted in their head how they have been brought up and how they have their ideology, so they don't want to believe in
It's
us.
informed thinking. They conform,
Yeah.
think in a certain way.
Yes.
everybody is in a certain box. Everybody has to be a certain, like a man has to be like that, and a woman has to be like that, and there are too many boxes. There's no fluidity, and that's the weirdest thing, because the whole point of what India is, and whatever you speak about, in Hinduism and in our culture, it's all about being fluid. It's about being like water, and the fact we have regressed instead of progressing is very, very sad and unfortunate. But hopefully, we are inherently, I think inherently, in a positive way, I think inherently we are progressive, inherently we are fluid as people, inherently, if we actually understood, we could be better than anybody and any civilization or anybody in the West or anywhere else, because we have it in our culture, we have it inherently. We just need to change the way people think, and I think slowly and steadily that is happening. I think so, like in a slow and steady.
Slowly and steady. We'll all reach there. Good luck to us and for the yes. To be very honest, I think Bollywood also still has to do a lot of work in terms of making queer the movies and coming out with the activism, because we still embark on a way, we're still like mocking gay people out. We've had movies like Dostana and all, where a gay character is so, the whole depiction is so
caricaturish.
Yeah, it's very effeminate and all, and that's not true. But not every gay person is effeminate. Not every gay person is addicted to sex. That's just very, very wrong notions, and that's, luckily, now we have started to have some movies where we are opening up, and I actually don't really go with Bollywood. Because I'm very, very scared in my head to find anything disturbing, and it can, when you see that kind of depiction and you're like, oh, this is so wrong, and this is the way it is, and
so you try to
avoid. I do avoid, yes.
Okay. So there are a couple of films that recently have, obviously there's Fire, which has Shabana Azmi in it and Nandita, and there's a film with Raj and Manoj, which was directed by Hansal Mehta, which is brilliant. I've done Ek Ladki Ko Dekha To Aisa Laga. There are 3 films I can think of right now, which have been which haven't stereotyped or made fun of or objectified a person of the queer community in a certain way, and I think that's pretty awesome. I think there was a recent film which Ayushmann did. I haven't seen it, but I'm pretty sure it's respectful and appropriate. Also, what do you think? I know in technicians and in actors and producers, some of the most powerful and amazing people in the film industry are a part of the community. But do you think the representation where actors are concerned, they're very few and very little?
Yes, I think that definitely is the case. Also, I think we need to, present more opportunities to the LGBTQ people in terms of acting and all. If we are doing that kind of casting, we should just go deep within and find those people out, because they'll be able to present the most honest opinion. I don't want any other person to come and play that gay character, because it's just not about the acting. Because it's more of a subject that needs to be told and needs to be presented in a way. And when we act also, I don't know how many of times we really go by studying it, and sometimes we need to be like I felt with the movies like Dostana and all, they really did not landed up in that manner, and that's how we just start looking down upon things. Okay, we're not still.
Yeah,
I
I know.
feel in total comparison to it, I think web series in India is doing more amazing job, in telling stories and expressing and like presenting the whole
Community.
narrative. Yeah, the whole narrative of
Yeah, because there's a
yeah,
long period of time where you can discuss and speak about it in a certain way, and I understand that, and I think the representation of the LGBTQI plus community or women in cinema, there has to be a huge change in the way we do it. Also, the audience accepting it in a certain way, and us not being afraid of making those sort of films where and also representation. And I think also in a way, I don't know many actors who are part of the community.
yeah,
I know that some of the most powerful and most successful people in the film industry are part of the community, whether they're editors, directors, producers,
yes,
writers,
yes.
etc. They're actually probably the most powerful, but they have that power to kind of affect change. And I hope that they would do more of that, Um,
So I wanted to know, like, if you ever get a chance to direct a movie around a queer individual, and like, how do you think you can bring the narrative in front of the audience, and what special you can do, which nobody has done till yet, or maybe you think like there's because you have shared your life with so many LGBTQ people. So how do you feel? Like, how can you make it so personal?
I think it's about speaking from the perspective of the main character. I don't know if you've seen this film called Blue is the Warmest Color. It's a fantastic film. I feel like there has to be rawness, realness, and at the same time, I think it needs to be a commercial enterprise, because at this point, what we need to do is bring in the audience so that they can be educated in a way, because they're predominantly ignorant of what it actually is. They have ideas of like what you see in films beforehand, where it's overtly feminine, overtly caricaturish, overtly. And the weird part is that we don't have many gay actors or lesbian actresses. We don't. We have mostly straight ones. So they're like straight people playing roles. That, like, even for me, somebody who has been an ally for so long, I played this character, and I mean, you get into the skin of the character, you understand the character, but I hope, I mean, especially because the film industry has so many people, like the fashion industry, actually, there's so many people who are from the community. And like I said, I feel like it's up to all of us to kind of speak. I think it's a duty to do it, and speak for and explain and understand in a raw. I love love stories, and I think love makes the world go round. So if I ever did that,
Yeah, I mean that's just a very beautiful way to go. Yeah.
yeah, I think love can make anybody change the way they think about something, or a familial relationship, right? Like a father-daughter story, or a son and a mother story, or a son and a father story, or a brother's. I feel like anything to do with a relationship, anything to do with love in any way, whether it's romantic love, whether it's familial love. I think if you show that moves people more than anything else. So if I did something, it would be
Yeah.
like that. Like, I love Brokeback Mountain, and I thought it's one of my favorite films.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So what are you asking me about Aisha? Is that you love that film?
Sure. So I was asking you. So yeah, I loved it totally. And so I feel so there was this three best friends. All right, in the movie.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. I want to know how much of a difference it would have made, like if you had a gay best friend and you would do everything what you did in the movie, going out, partying, shopping,
Uh-huh.
like how much of fun that would have been. Like,
That would have been awesome, and that would have been amazing.
yeah,
And I wish I thought about that, because I was 21 when I made that film and I didn't think of that. And we based it on this book called Emma. And we just basically just did the same thing, and we just put it in high society Delhi, which is exactly like high society, like way back. It's all about getting married, etc., etc. But yeah, again, I don't know why I didn't. That would have been awesome. Now that I'm thinking about it, because that's my life. I mean, even though
yes, exactly, it would have been like more personal to you as well.
Yeah, I know, but Ira Dubey did a fabulous job. She's a really good friend of mine, and yeah, she could have been gay.
Yeah,
it would have been wonderful.
Yeah. We have an example of Ella Fitzgerald when she was a black female person, and whenever she used to sing, so nobody will book her. And I recently read about it, and there was this time like people actually stopped signing her because she was a black person. But then Marilyn Monroe came into the scene, and she used to go and sit in the front seating, right? And so because of her, she can brought everybody inside the whole thing. So, like, how do you think like you're doing it so far?
See, I think I do my best, honestly, in whatever way I can. I feel like, especially in the film industry, where the trans community is concerned, I think there's still a long way to go. So I think
long way to go. Yeah,
I know. So I feel like the focus right now is over there as well, especially with technicians, especially with writers and directors, and even maybe actors. And I feel like that's where we should concentrate as much as we can. I know that there is a incredibly talented cinematographer who is a part of the community, and whose work I really admire, and I'm really trying to get that person to kind of, I don't want to name the person. I don't know if the person's comfortable with it. But I really would like to kind of give that, have a very diverse way. I produce films with my sister as well. So we try as much as we can to make that very diverse. We don't discriminate, obviously. And I think it has to be conscious. It has to be conscious effort. Because
also I believe like yes, please continue.
I feel like it has conscious effort. It shouldn't. I think sometimes it's not. I mean, everybody says, it has to be the best person for the job. But I feel like, how do you know who the best person in the job is? Because everybody's not have the equal opportunity. Everybody does not have the same opportunity. So, and I feel like if you're in a place of privilege, my mom said this to me actually, which is amazing. Instead of building higher walls, build a longer table. So you need to get everybody to sit on the table and interview. And so it's about giving opportunity. It's about, if you are in a place of privilege, if you have that, whether it's film, whether it's fashion, I know I'm privileged where it comes to that part of the world. I know, as a person who has a voice, who has X amount of Instagram followers or social media following, or somebody who is famous, I know I have a platform. I have to use that platform, and I need to encourage and sometimes even shame other people to using their platform in a way. And I do that as much as I can. I send like insane amounts of WhatsApp messages and like call them and pester people and ask them to do things and speak up. And I think that's the only way right now. Hire them, cast them, ask my friends who are in the same place as me, or who has privilege as me, or more privileged as me, to speak about it and do the same thing. That's the only way, I think. Like they say, a man speaking for equal rights for a woman is just as important, and I feel for us it's the same thing. Another level.
I think so I really want to request and put this request in front of the masses that we as LGBTQ people, because we are not that widely accepted, and we are like still very we are not presented with so many opportunities, and we're still struggling to get jobs, get our work done, and during this corona time also, I mean, a lot of trans people are suffering, a lot of gay people are suffering because we don't have we don't get accepted so much in a lot of companies, in a lot of industries, and we, after coming out to our parents, we get thrown out of our houses. I mean, and we're all by ourselves, so we need a way, we need this kind of acceptance where we also feel like as important to as any other individual. And because we want to work, we want to live for ourselves, we want to be as equal. Um, because just because the whole corona thingy and is anyway affecting our mental health, and by having no jobs, no health, we don't have these kind of like institutions who are talking about the LGBTQ peers, or there are no like camps who are supporting. I mean, if we get thrown out of the house, there are no places to go, right? So it's very like that. And there's this continuous fear that every gay person live with, being disowned by their parents. And it's really really tough. I mean, for me, I've been staying by myself for 7 years, and I've been working, and like I'm all by myself. But now that corona has affected my career so much, and there are no much jobs and all, and I have to go back to my parents and live with them, it is a huge discomfort because I'm still not allowed for them to be a homosexual male, and to like, it is really really hard to find that kind of comfort. So I want to take this opportunity and bring like, to, I mean, to help educate everybody, like, be it our parents, be it our millennial generation. And yeah, I mean, we would want all of you guys, I mean, the one who's going to watch these, to put themselves in the same shoes and realize how short-lived we are. And also, Sonam, I really wanted to ask, like, when was your first time, first your introduction to the LGBTQ community, and how did you meet, and how because you seem such a comfortable person around them, and you believe that there's part of life. So I like the way
I
you
know, I don't believe,
normalize.
I
I
know
want to
it.
know like how it was for you. And
So,
yes, so
my
I
mom,
mean, because it is very important because
yeah. So my mom was a fashion designer, and I grew up in that. Like, I grew up literally with fashion and film around me. Like, my father is an actor. Some of his friends and my mom's best friends
yeah,
are from the community. They worked with them. They were friends with them. They like ate. So for me, it was normal. It is normal, but it was completely normal. Like, I didn't know, honestly, when I was a kid, that there was, why are my mom's two friends living together who are men? I thought that was normal. I thought that that's how it worked. I didn't
yeah,
know that people thought otherwise, because my parents made it seem absolutely normal to me, right? Like, when one of my
that's
mom's
amazing.
past
That's so
friends
great.
passed away from AIDS, HIV, I had never seen her more devastated. So I think seeing how my parents reacted and how I was brought up, I never knew that
Hmm.
this wasn't this wasn't considered normal in the society outside. What I
Okay.
saw in my
Yeah.
household, what I even saw in my school, actually, because in my school, I saw that, or my dance teacher, or whatever, I saw this stuff in my school and everywhere, where there wasn't anything discriminatory happening. In fact, when I became an adult and I joined the film industry when I was like 18 or 19, I mean, if that's what you call an adult right now, I saw that there was
Hmm.
such widespread ignorance, such widespread discrimination, and such
Hmm.
horrendous, horrible behavior towards the LGBTQI plus community, towards women. It was a lot. I realized that there was toxic masculinity that was being propagated through the film industry, I saw that there was a lot of it was a highly patriarchal society that we lived in, and my utopian idealistic upbringing was something that I was very, very lucky to have and to understand. And in fact, when I came into the film industry, I felt like an outsider because I thought differently and I dressed differently and I spoke differently. And but that made me want to be more outspoken because of it. And it's only because of my upbringing and my parents and the education that they gave me at home about it. So
I mean, it all starts from home. I mean,
it all starts from home.
We have to find that kind of
yes.
And we have to find that kind of comfort.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be.
It should be taught in school, right? It shouldn't. It should
I mean,
be.
We have to normalize the gender roles. Yes.
Absolutely, it has to be a part of the curriculum. It has to be. It has to be educational. It cannot be something that you shy away from, because there is. It is not like it isn't. It isn't different. We are all the same. Who we love might be what we are, who we are might be something that we can't define, and these definitions are given to us by society. So there has to be education about it. It has to start in school, and it has to start at home. And there's a long way out for it to happen, but I think that we are going in the right way forward. Malkeet, it was so wonderful speaking with you. Are you in Delhi right now?
Yes, I am in Delhi, and it's a dream came true. It's been wonderful to have this chat with you and finding this kind of comfort. Thank you so much.
It was so lovely speaking with you. And I'm going to follow you on Instagram. I'm going to go up and look you up on Instagram. I'm going to follow you. Okay, and be wonderful, make beautiful pictures, and style beautiful people and style yourself beautifully. And I hope to see you soon. I hope you guys enjoyed that chat. And if you'd like to help people in need, please click on the Liberatum link and do as much as you can.